The other day I had an incident, and it's not the first time this has happened. In fact, I've brought these situations up many times in the past, and it's kind of with a group of people. It's the baby boomer conservative men of Massachusetts. And I've been very harsh on them. I've picked on them a lot. And I'm going to tell you why. I think they kind of deserve it a bit for various reasons. Well, let me tell you what happened first, this little story. And it's not unlike any other time I found myself in these scenarios. I often am in groups where I'm the youngest one, sometimes by 20, 30 years. And I'm surrounded by these baby boomers. And the baby boomer conservative man from Massachusetts starts going on a rant. In this case, he's talking about elections. He's talking about Donald Trump. He's talking about Joe Biden. And this clown starts saying, Trump's up in the polls. He's going to win. Trump's going to be the next president. He's got Biden on the ropes, this and that. And I got to laugh at this monkey. I'm going to tell you why I'm calling him a monkey, why he's a clown. What is one of the angles right now of the Republicans, of the conservative talk radio? It's that the last election was fixed. Now, I explained in the previous episode, my observations do not necessarily reflect my beliefs. I'm just telling you the score, the playing field. And this is one of these cases. My opinion on the election, that's separate. This isn't my opinion. I'm not picking apart my opinion or my view on it. I just want to concentrate for a minute on the conservative view. I said to this guy, how are you going to get him in the election? How are you going to get him in the voting booth? Because if you believe the election was fixed or rigged, as you say, and everyone in this room believes this, these people I'm surrounded by, if you believe that, then how's Trump going to win? Have you solved the problems? Have you fixed the problems? Your angle is that people were voting for Donald Trump and the computers were spitting out Biden votes. People were being sent home and then votes were being recounted and so forth. If that's your angle, if you believe that it's fixed, then it's still fixed. Because as I say, it's who's counting the votes. That's what matters. And I said to him, your angle is that the Democrats are counting the votes, therefore fixing the election. And if that's the case and it hasn't been solved, mail-in votes being another issue, has that been fixed yet? If your platform, if your angle is that the election is fixed, and then I give you reasons why it may be fixed or methods that facilitate it being fixed. Again, I'm not saying it was fixed. I'm not saying it was rigged. I'm simply regurgitating the narrative of the conservative. If the conservative believes it was rigged, if he believes it's fixed, then it's still fixed because none of these problems have been solved. So I point this out to this idiot. And then his friends in the room, they all look at me baffled. They're lost. And then there's almost an angry look directed at me. They're angry at me for bringing them this news. And I let them know. I let these baby boomers know who like working on their cars all day, being tough guys, doing manly type activities. All the push-ups in the world ain't going to help you. all the Trump signs. You put on the mask. You did what Charlie Baker told you to do. You were not prepared. And until you prepare yourself, this is just going to keep happening. And the reality of this, again, the baby boomer, rather than analyzing his own behavior, gets mad at me. A lot of these talk shows, the conservative talk shows that I talk about, which to me, whatever conservative movement there is in this state, which is not much of one, they tend to congregate around these talk shows. You know the shows. Anyone who is into that whole scene, you know the shows around here. Conservative talk radio is pretty big around here, even though it's a liberal state. And you hear these guys, saying what I just brought up. This one guy, and I've heard the same phone call 100 times. They call in, they go, get out your Trump hats, get out your Trump signs, hang your flag out on your front lawn. Well, what's that going to do? You've got this buildup of Trump signs. Again, I asked the question, what did Donald Trump do for you during the coronavirus? What did he do for you? Did he get you out of this? Did he tell Charlie Baker to knock it off? No. Your rights were suspended. When you're a kid growing up in America in the elementary schools, you're taught a lot about how the country started, about how people stood up to the royal segments of England. And you're also it's kind of implied, someday this could happen here. There's always someone out there looking to take your freedom away. This is inundated. You salute the flag. You just do it. You have to do it or you're in big trouble. These are just things you grow up doing in this country. Again, I'm not saying they're good or bad. I'm just telling you, again, this is the layout. This is the layout of the land. This is what it is. There's another thing that happens too, especially if you're my age, in my age group. I often talk about guys, older men, again, baby boomer men, who back then were my age, possibly younger than me. And they made this habit of belittling you out on the little league fields. I talk about in gym class. That was another place they got you. I remember in junior high, we're 12, 13, maybe 14. And you got these tough guy gym teachers. And then there were other teachers in the school that they didn't teach physical education, but it was the same way. Giving us nasty looks, looking like they're going to beat us up. If we didn't run fast enough, we were girls. What are you accomplishing? Yeah, you can beat us up. We're 12 years old. We're 13. We're 14. 10 of us couldn't beat up one of you. Yeah, I get it. You're a tough guy. We're little kids. This was the age group that put this in our minds. This was the age group that thought we were soft, that thought we were weak. So when the coronavirus happened, naturally, when I heard these idiotic mandates, when I saw Charlie Baker saying, you're going to wear a mask, your store is going to be closed, you will do what I say. You can go in this store over here, but you can't go in this store. I'm going to tell you what stores you can go in. I'm also going to give you a curfew. When Robert Sullivan over in Brockton was doing this. Name any governor anywhere in the country, any mayor, selectman, all over the state of Massachusetts. I really, truly believed this was the moment. All these baby boomer men that called me and my friends weak out on the Little League fields, called us girls. We don't run fast enough. We're not tough enough. You ain't ready for the real world. Looks like the baby boomer wasn't ready for it. I really believed that these baby boomer men were going to say, no way. I thought they were going to stand with me. Instead, they were lost. You should have seen the look on some of these guys' faces when I approached them and said, you need to go in a store without a mask. It was fear, terror on their face. I can't do that. I'll be in trouble. All these baby boomer men, they complain now. They point out things that are going on in this state. The volume's been churned up a little bit, hasn't it, baby boomer men? They're worried. They're concerned. It's even worse now than before the coronavirus. And I tell every one of them, hey, man, you signed up for this. You welcomed this into your life. Anytime I had a chance on social media, any platform, anytime I was on a microphone, anytime I was interviewed on other shows that are like this one, I said it over and over again. Do what you can do to resist the mandates. Don't wear that mask, go in a store. If you have to get arrested, so be it. Do not respect the curfew. Gather at your house. They said you shall not gather. Have a party, have people over. Do whatever you can to resist this. What did the baby boomer do? Nothing. He obeyed. He followed instructions. And now he can't believe what has happened to this state. He can't see the part he played. Now, I just made reference to how a lot of times we all heard it growing up. You're a girl, you're a fairy, you're weak. I really don't like those words. I never did like them. The kind of, I don't know if you'd call them sexist, insults hurled at women, insults hurled at gays. You know, you're a homo if you don't do this. Yeah, I never liked that stuff. Number one, it's disrespectful to those people. But number two, just as potent point is that I believe when I start hearing those words, you know someone's trying to get you to do something you don't want to do. Something's telling you this is wrong. There's one of your fellow friends to come along and say, stop being a girl, stop being this, stop being that. Stop being queer. All these terrible names and words that we give to people. That's what they use to get you to do something you know you shouldn't be doing. So I really don't use those words, only on the rarest of occasions. And sometimes I think they are warranted. When I use them, I think they're warranted. Because if I'm using them, you know I'm trying to get a point across. So let's talk about girls. Let's talk about girls for a minute. Because baby boomers love talking about girls. Little lady, don't you hurt yourself there. I'll take care of that. All right, baby boomers. Let's talk about girls. Karen Polito, who backed up Charlie Baker, she told you what to do, where to go, when to stand, when to sit. And you did it. A girl owned you. She was your slave master, a girl. Number two, as I've said before, there was one particular little gathering protest I went to up in Boston. And it was when Charlie Baker decided 6-month-old babies were going to get the flu vaccine, which is absolutely insane. And I am not an anti-vaccine person. You can't tell people to force their little baby. It's dangerous. That is up to the parent to protect the baby, not the governor. And as I've said before, I would venture to say there were just as many, if not more, women, more girls at that protest than men. The girls fought back harder than you did. Let's talk about weak people, perceived fairies, or whatever the horrible insult word you want to use. You also like hurling stones at hippies and liberals. Did you see the protests in Canada? The protests in some of these liberal countries? They destroyed you, baby boomer. They were out in the streets protesting, marching, holding rallies. The freest country on earth, our protests, our gatherings were a joke compared to theirs. They were packed in the streets. We were lucky if we could get 1,000 people at one of these in Massachusetts. Ours were minuscule, non-existent. 1,000 people, that's a fragment of bacteria. That's all that is. You call them weak, you call them liberals, you make fun of these countries. They fought harder than you did. They put you to shame. And today, what did I hear? Something came up about the mass. And a girl, these people you make so much fun of, was talking about how when she would go into a store without a mask, people looked like they were going to punch her, like they were going to call the police on her. A girl. Again, the girls fought harder than you did. So this girl fairy stuff, I'd leave it alone if I was you, because you just make yourself look stupid. You're lower intelligence. You're not bright. You're not on the ball. All these baby boomers that are coming to me now, going, gee, you were right. There was something up with that corona. Now they don't believe in the coronavirus. People who were angry at me made a fist, look like they were going to beat me up for the news that I delivered to them. Anger. Now they're coming around. Now they see it my way. It's too late, my main man. It's too late, Cro-Mag. Your moment, your window of opportunity was during the coronavirus. It may be another 50 years before you even get another chance like that ever again. Ever again. Oh, next time, they tell me, it's not going to be a next time, big guy. And people are living to be 100 now, like nothing. So some of these baby boomers, they might still be here when the next one comes. So good luck in another 50 years. The damage is done. Your communist friends got what they want. The time for you to make a move has already passed. Here's one of the problems with the baby boomer. And again, I think this rant, these insults are warranted. Considering the abuse that I saw growing up, that me and my friends took from you guys, belittling us, and you did it in the name of love. You were making us into men. And then when push came to shove, you all ran. You hid. You got scared. You couldn't keep up with me. The way you acted during the coronavirus told me everything I needed to know about you. The revolution, the red, white, and blue. This is what the people did when they started the country. You may have to put your foot down one day too. But you might not, because you're weak. You're young. You're soft. Your generation is not ready for the battle. And again, who was it that ran? The baby boomers. One of the problems I see with this baby boomer is he is what I call the Walter Cronkite generation. His face is cemented to the TV. He cannot function without the local news. He will tell you it's a bunch of liberals. He will watch his Fox all day, which, by the way, when a true conservative comes onto Fox, like someone like Ron Paul, Fox laughs him off the stage. Let's just, I've talked about that in the past. I'm not going to get into it now. But the problem with the baby boomer, and this is my message to you, because this is about love. I'm not trying to make enemies with you. I'm trying to reach out to you. I watch you, baby boomer. Every day at 5 o'clock, you have to put that news on. I got to see what the news is. I got to get the news. That's not news, big man. Let me help you, because you are slow. You take too long to catch on. You don't know when people are pulling the wool over your eyes. That's not news, big guy. Let me say it again, because I've said it on other rants, monologues that I've given. A car accident is not news. A fire is not news. A tree falling on a house is not news. It's not news. That is tragedy. That is being exploited for money. Those people are dealing with a tragedy. Let them deal with it. They don't have to be dealing with news cameras and everything else on top of that. And you're part of the problem when you tune into it. Like I've said before, I see these websites. Go to the website. You got fire departments that are taking pictures of people's misery and putting it on their website, taking pictures of mangled cars or whatever it is. Oh, we want to show what happens when you drink and drive. I don't care. Stop doing that. Those people are dealing with a tragedy. They're dealing with a tragedy. They don't need you taking pictures. When there's a tragedy in your town, you will know it. You will find out. You don't need the news to tell you. These guys, these baby boomers, I got to get the weather. I got to get the weather. I got to get the sports. Compulsively, they got to see the weather. You really rely on that local news for weather at this point? You have the internet. You have the Weather Channel. You really need Channel 5 News. Pretend I'm Liz Walker. Pretend I'm Bob LaBelle. Since these are your masters, your gods, I'll be your leader. Stop watching it. You don't need the weather. They compulsively hey, stop everything. Gotta get the weather. 5 o'clock, that thing goes on. That is part of your problem. They know that about you. All they need is that 10 minutes. And it deprograms whatever Fox News told you or whatever I told you. And again, not that Fox News is any help. Just using that as trying to speak the language of the baby boomer. So you have to uncement yourself from that television and stop being angry at people like me who are telling you truth. We're going to get them in the voting booth. No, you're not. Not if the Democrats are counting votes. Have you fixed that problem? Again, I'm not accusing Democrats of counting votes or rigging the election. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if you believe that, then that problem hasn't been fixed. One day I'll get into what I think of the election, not today. So that's my rant about the baby boomer. Again, I want to thank people for tuning into this, for being part of this. We've got more guests lined up. And again, spread this to a baby boomer. Spread this to whoever you think needs to hear it. And again, I am about love. But harsh words have been said to me. It's time harsh words be said to other people. Because I am a person of peace. And I'm a person of ideas and of spreading knowledge. So once in a while, this tough guy baby boomer who made a career out of calling my age group soft, I think they can handle the insults. That's all I got for today. You listen to the Form Voltron podcast. Thank you very much.